Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell, and this is my review of Ne Zha 2. And if you're not a weekly viewer of Charts with Dan, which if you're not, you really should be because I think it's a delightful show, then you may be asking yourself, wait a minute, why is Dan reviewing this animated movie from China? And there's actually a really good reason why. Actually, there are 2 billion good reasons why I decided to cover it. Ne Zha 2 was released early this year in China and quickly became the highest grossing movie in China's history, the highest grossing film of the year worldwide, and the highest grossing animated film of all time worldwide, with reported box office topping $2 billion. It received a modest domestic release back in February, but A24 picked up distribution rights and has put it out in much wider release this weekend in an English dubbed version, and I'm glad that they did because it gave me the chance to see the film for the first time after talking about it on Charts for most of the year. Ne Zha 2 is the sequel to 2019's Ne Zha, which was a big hit in China, though not on the scale of its sequel. The franchise is based in Chinese folklore and mythology, much more on that later, and the premise is a bit complicated, but I'm going to do my best here to simplify it. Ne Zha is a young boy who is the reincarnation of a spiritual force called the Demon Orb, which gives him great destructive power and causes him to often act rashly and impetuously. The Demon Orb's other half, the Spirit Pearl, is embodied by Ao Bing, who is Ne Zha's closest friend and a powerful warrior himself. Ne Zha controls fire, Ao Bing controls ice. Ao Bing and Ne Zha's friendship is complicated because Ao Bing is the son of Ao Guang, a dragon king who's been imprisoned underground and resents humanity, including Ne Zha's parents, and his home city of Chintang Pass. Ao Guang wants to escape and become immortal with the help of his main ally Shen, who is himself a demon and secretly working with Ao Guang behind the backs of the other immortals. Ne Zha's teacher and mentor is Tai Yi, a comical but powerful character, and Ne Zha gets his guidance from his parents, Li Jing and Lady Yen. In the English dub, Lady Yen is voiced by Michelle Yeoh. In the first movie, Ne Zha survived a curse that was supposed to destroy him and the demon orb energy along with it, alongside Ao Bing. In Ne Zha 2, Ne Zha is getting used to his newly reconstructed human body, which was destroyed in the last film, when Ao Guang and the 3 other Dragon Kings attack and demand that Ne Zha help Ao Bing's soul find a new body as well, or they're going to destroy the town. So Ne Zha sets out to pass the trials that are required to become an immortal, which will allow Tai Yi to construct a new body for his best friend and save Chintang Pass. That's the setup for the film, and for the first half or so, I'd say that Ne Zha 2 follows a pretty predictable path. It's definitely a huge step up in animation from the first movie, and it's beautiful to look at, but I was feeling about Ne Zha 2 about halfway through, just about the same as I felt about the first movie. It's cute, it's definitely aimed at younger audiences with a lot of pee and fart jokes, but it was entertaining enough. Then the movie takes a turn, an escalation that I didn't see coming, and from there on out, Ne Zha 2's scope expands dramatically. This is not just an animated movie that's impressive in scale for a Chinese film or for an international film. Ne Zha 2 features some of the best animation I've ever seen in a movie, period. Not only does it match what's been done in Hollywood films like the Spider-Verse movies and the truly cutting-edge Pixar movies, you could make the argument that it may even surpass it, and it transforms from a beautiful movie into a stunning one. The battle that ends the film is on the scale of the biggest Hollywood epics that you've seen, sustained for what feels like half an hour or more, and it's worth seeing, I think, on the big screen purely on an artistic level, especially if you're a fan of animation. The origin country and where it comes from just kind of falls away, and it becomes really pure cinema. On a story level, Ne Zha 2 can't quite match the visuals. As I said, the first half of the film is entertaining but predictable. I do like how they continue to build the relationship between Ne Zha and his parents. There's some genuine love there, and that love leads to some emotional moments of both triumph and heartbreak as the movie goes on. I also like the friendship between Ne Zha and Ao Bing, which is fraught with conflicting loyalties, but also the knowledge that they are each one half of the other one. They're never really whole unless they come together and put aside their differences. Eventually, this movie goes darker than just about any other mainstream animated film in the US, I think, would dare to go. And I was on board for that drama. My main criticism is that the plot can be difficult to follow as it twists and turns. And I think that that's probably because Ne Zha 2 is based on well-known stories in China that probably don't need to be explained as much to people who already know them. But for the uninitiated, it can be difficult to track who's allied with who and where everyone's allegiances lie. It didn't totally lose me though, and I understood enough to know the stakes of the final battle, which really left me in awe for the final act of the movie. It is truly unlike anything I've seen before, blending in elements that I've seen in big epic Hollywood movies, stuff that looks very similar to anime, and then filtering it all really through the vision of the movie's artist and its director, Jiaozi. Now, I don't know how the voice performances are in the movie's native Mandarin because I've only seen both films dubbed into English, but there is a definite upgrade in the voice cast from the first movie to the second film in this version that's backed by A24. I thought it was fine in the first movie, but it's better in the second movie. Overall, the English performances are sufficient, maybe not mind-blowing, but it was really smart to get Michelle Yeoh to voice Ne Zha's mother, who plays a supporting role, but also a critical role. Ne Zha is also mostly voiced in English in this version by Crystal Lee, who's a veteran video game voice artist and who has also done the dubbed voice of the character Gina in the anime series Solo Leveling. Now, because I cover box office every week, I have seen tons of doubt cast about this movie's box office total in China at over $2 billion. And I disagree with those assertions. I've talked about why. And I disagree with them even more having now seen the movie. And I doubt that a lot of people who are denying that Ne Zha 2 has made as much as it has seen it either. But I think that they should, because this isn't just another movie, especially in the context of Chinese history and culture. I did my research, and Ne Zha is one of the most enduring figures in China. He is a character in Chinese mythology, in some Chinese religions, and has been depicted in various forms of media and literature for centuries. There's no real equivalent to this character in our culture here in the United States, but imagine if there was. It'd be like if the Avengers were based off of centuries-old mythological characters. Now imagine that those characters were featured in a film that is unlike anything else that has ever been produced here in this country. A groundbreaking Avatar type of movie that comes close to what I think this movie represents in China. It's like if the MCU started, as far as a level of scope and scale, with Iron Man, and then the next film they released was Avengers Endgame. Or if Pixar went directly from Toy Story to WALL-E. Can you imagine, as a moviegoer, just how mind-blowing that would be? Now imagine that the US had triple the population and more than double the amount of movie theater screens, and it's not quite so hard to imagine how this movie was able to make so much money in China. Yes, the relationship between the government of China, the people of China, and the movie industry in China is different than what we have here in the US. And yes, there are geopolitical reasons for China to produce successful films that supplant Hollywood imports. We've seen that over the last few years. But I don't think any of that takes away from the fact that Ne Zha 2 is a massively impressive film. And I have no doubt that if its equivalent was released in the US today, it would similarly break box office records, as we saw 6 years ago with a movie that I think is similar in scale, Avengers Endgame. I mean, that is the type of movie that we're talking about here. So if you're a doubter of Ne Zha 2's performance at the box office in China, I would challenge you to watch the movie. Because if you watch it and you still think at the end that it's not a legit box office number, at least you'll understand a little bit more why others like me are going to start disagreeing with you even more than we already did. Because this is not a run-of-the-mill movie. This is truly, and I think especially for people in China, something special. So when we talk about my personal rating scale, if we were just talking about the visuals, the artistry behind the film, this would be an easy see it now. But as a whole, when you combine it with the story and where I don't think it quite matches up to the technical artistry of the film, it still lands in the it's good range. And if this is a movie that you're curious about, that you've seen the headlines about, I would say go see it, because it really is unlike any other animated film that I've seen, particularly internationally, a movie from another country, but really I think stands as one of the most unique animated films that I've seen ever. So those are my thoughts on Ne Zha 2. Are you going to be heading out to see it this weekend? Hopefully the theater is far enough away from K-pop Demon Hunters so you don't quite get the spillover from the sing-along, because it's going to be quite a packed weekend at the box office. Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned right here on the channel. I will be covering as much box office news as we have about K-pop Demon Hunters. We'll see how much Netflix decides to share, as well as the latest in movie news, entertainment, and more. As always, if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that button, hit the bell so you know when I upload a new video. But most of all, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.